Auburn has the toughest October slate I've ever seen, Christian, but it ends on the road at Ole Miss in Oxford.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, that Ole Miss Rebel team might be overlooking the Auburn Tigers.
Welcome on into the Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport. I'm your host, Mike G. Turn us on, turn us up. We'll turn it out. I'm here with my good friend, Christian Rao, Auburn sports commentator extraordinaire, to talk a little Auburn football here on a Thursday morning. On today's show, we're going to talk about Media Days, which is fast approaching. I will be in Tampa covering live along with Ike Jones, but we're going to start the show continuing our series of going down this schedule. We've gotten all the way through LSU, and now it's time to talk about Auburn versus the Ole Miss Rebels. I'm going to pull the schedule up here. If you're listening on audio, Auburn begins the season September 5th in Atlanta versus Baylor. After that, they get 3 straight home games versus Southern Miss, Florida, and Vanderbilt. And then October, they go on the road at Tennessee, a bye week at Georgia, home versus LSU, and then at Ole Miss in Oxford, a Lane Kiffin-less Ole Miss, but they are not without Trinidad Chambliss. I think Trinidad is the best QB in the SEC this coming season, and he might be DJ Durkin's greatest challenge that he has to solve defensively. I believe in this defense. I believe in what DJ Durkin is building. I like that Auburn broke the bank to keep him, but this is where you got to earn your money. You got to go out and you have to slow down what looks like the unstoppable force that is Trinidad Chambliss.
Yeah, I mean, 4,500 total yards last year.
Crazy.
Putting that in perspective, we think how great what Byrum did, 4,000 yards, right? And Chambliss did it at the SEC level. So really impressive from what he did. He was responsible for 30 touchdowns. I agree with you. I think he is, and he should be seen as the best quarterback in this conference. I know if you look at some industry rankings or some national media and poll season, what we're in right now, ranking season, some people like to say Sam Leavitt. Some people like to go in a different direction with Arch Manning or so. Well, of those two I just mentioned, only one's going to SEC Media Days, so you take that for what you will on that conversation. Ole Miss is interesting. I think it's such an interesting team that they're going to have to face against Auburn. Obviously, you're going to go against a couple of former Auburn Tigers. Jay Crawford over there right now. That's going to be a really interesting matchup to see how Jay Crawford is with the Auburn wide receivers. But, man, I do think this truly could be, if we're looking at it from an Auburn perspective, this could be a game that Ole Miss overlooks. If you look at Ole Miss's schedule, I think this is a game that they might just take slightly lightly to end the month of October.
Are you saying that this could be a trap game for Ole Miss?
100%. I'm 100% saying that this could be a trap game. On October 24th, they go to Texas. Then they play Auburn the following week on Halloween. Spooky season, my friend. And then right after that, they take on the Georgia Bulldogs. You are smack dab in the middle of what most bet makers are taking as the first and second team to be favored in the SEC this year in Georgia and Texas.
9.5, both of them.
And the last couple of years, not many people have seen Auburn be even seen in that regard at all. So as much as you want to believe in Alex Golesh, I think he's got to prove it, obviously. But by the time that rolls around October 31st, one, is this Ole Miss team beat up? Is Pete Golding the guy? Because that's a question mark. And if he is the guy, is he going to be exhausted, or is he going to, after the Texas game, if they just sneak by and win that game, are they going to be all eyes on Georgia? If they just lose that game against Texas, are they going to be on all eyes on Georgia? So they say, we can't lose that Georgia game, because if so, we can't make it to the SEC championship.
Yeah.
And no, not think once about Byrum Brown and Alex Golesh and DJ Durkin and the Auburn Tigers. This is definitely a trap game. And on Halloween, it makes it perfect. The only downside is it's an early window. It's the only downside to this game.
Christian, ESPN released their FPI, their Football Power Index for 2026. This leans heavily on strength of schedule, and then what they call strength of record. There's no strength of record yet because no games have been played. Auburn comes in at number 22 in the FPI. Ole Miss comes in at number 14 early in the FBI. But when you break down the strength of schedule for each one of these schools, interestingly enough, in the SEC, there isn't a single team in the SEC that has a strength of schedule rank outside the top 20. Georgia comes in at number 16 with a strength of schedule at 20. Everybody else is higher than that. ESPN says that the Ole Miss Rebels have the 5th hardest strength of schedule in the country. So and that includes a stretch against Missouri at home, Texas on the road, Auburn at home, Georgia at home, and then Oklahoma on the road. That is a brutal 5-game stretch. I think they might be a little bit beat up by the time they face off against Auburn there in week 8.
Yeah, and I don't think they have a nicely placed bye week either. Their bye week comes early.
That's a great point.
It comes early in October. It comes after the Florida game. I mean, like the only really tough game before their bye week is one will be a very emotional one, but it's when they host Lane Kiffin and LSU the week before the Florida game. But I think if you were looking at this schedule, if you're Pete Golding, if you're Ole Miss and you're looking at it and you see where your bye week stands, you're probably not too happy with it. Because after your bye week, then you take on Vanderbilt, which, okay, probably a win for Ole Miss, especially with a freshman quarterback starting, especially by then, October 10th. But then you run through that gauntlet, as you mentioned, in Mizzou, Texas, Auburn, Georgia, Oklahoma, before finishing off the season against Wofford and Mississippi State. By the time they get there, though, they might be limping to the season. And if they can sneak out with only 1 or 2 losses inside the conference, they'd be lucky. And I do think they're one of the teams that should be seen as a favorite inside the conference this year because of how good Trinidad Chambliss is, because how good that defense should be still with Pete Golding around. But, man, that's a tough middle of the season schedule. And if they overlook Auburn just once, if you're thinking about that 4-game stretch, Mike, Texas, Auburn, Georgia, Oklahoma, if you're not an Auburn fan, that's the last team you're thinking about on that schedule. They really are.
I agree. Look, when you look at their schedule, it's not hard to figure out why this is the 5th hardest schedule in the entire country. You open up with Louisville, right? Then they play Charlotte, and then the gauntlet begins. You got LSU, and then at Florida, at Vanderbilt. Yeah, I'm with you. I would have rather had that bye week somewhere after Missouri. Like anywhere after Missouri, but early in the season, they're going to hope they have it rolling. But I got to, of all the teams that have high expectations in 2026 in the SEC, I think Ole Miss is the most likely to flop versus their schedule. The schedule is tough, man. It's tough, and the wheels could be off the wagon by the time they get to Auburn. Those Florida and Vanderbilt games, those are losable football games. Then you got Missouri. You're at Texas. I don't know, man. Look, they maybe could be 1-4 in the SEC by the time they get to Auburn. I don't think that's out of the question.
It's not. It's not out of the question at all. Not one bit.
Yeah, and that's not an indictment on Trinidad Chambliss. I think he can put up great numbers and they can still have a really crap record. I love Trinidad, and I think he was the best story in college football. I hated that his story was overshadowed by the Lane Kiffin coaching search. But Pete Golding has a really, really difficult job here. And I'm not sure. I think he's a decent coach. I'm not sure he's going to be up to the task here. It is hard to try to sit at the top of the team heap every year in the SEC. And this is the year that Alex Golesh has to remind teams of, like Ole Miss, of their place in the pecking order.
They're going to be either 5-2 or 7-0 heading into this one, like anywhere in between 5-2, 6-1, 7-0 heading into the game against Auburn. If you're an Auburn fan, you want this team to be 6-1 or 7-2 or 7-0. You don't want this team to be 5-2. You don't want this team to feel like their season's already over and they don't have a chance at the SEC championship game, because then they're going to try and do everything they possibly can to blow the brakes off you. But if they even feel like, one, they're 7-0 and they feel like they can't be touched, that's when they look ahead to Georgia. If they're 6-1, and they feel like, oh man, they just can't lose another one, that's when they still probably look ahead to Georgia and say, that's the hardest game left on our schedule. And they overlook Auburn. The only time they're not going to overlook Auburn is when it doesn't matter anymore. And that's if they have 2 losses before they get to the Tigers. I'll keep it real. That's what it is.
No, I stand by this. I think this is going to be one of the funnest Auburn football seasons that we've had in quite some time. The ups, the downs, the celebrations, the commiserations. We're going to experience it all in 2026. Let's get to the break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little media days. It is fast coming here, and I cannot wait to hear from Alex Golesh from the podium. I want to get your thoughts on what you want to hear from Alex Golesh. We'll talk about that next, right after a quick word from our friends at Abels I Know More and Associates. Guys, you don't need $1 million. You need a financial advisor. You just need a paycheck and some things you care about. Maybe you care about retirement. Maybe it's your kids going off to college, or maybe you just want to make sure that you can buy that brand new car in a couple of years. No matter what your financial goals are, the good folks at Abels I Know More and Associates can help you achieve just that. There's no right or wrong when it comes to your finances. There's only what you want to accomplish and the pitfalls that you want to avoid. The good folks at Abels I Know More and Associates, they've been at this for over a quarter century, and they can tell you exactly what you need to do with your money to achieve every single financial goal you have, whether it's short or long term. They're Auburn people looking out for other Auburn people. So give them a call at 912-777-4128 or visit them on the web at aimainc.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, scan the QR code on the screen. It'll do the heavy lifting for you. The War Rapport has been compensated by Abels I Know More and Associates for this endorsement. AMA is a SEC registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. Also want to thank our friends at the Vibe Vault. You can find them at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. If you're in the Columbus, Phoenix City area and you're looking to get fresh for the weekend, the Vibe Vault is the place for you. My guy Steve Watkins is serving up beard, trims, lineups, fades, all of it, and he does it at the highest level possible by a barber. Is where I go. It's where I'm going before media days to get cleaned up. You can find them in Phoenix City on Highway 431, right across the street from Chattahoochee Valley Community College, next to the Renfro Supermarket and the Marco's Pizza. The Vibe Vault, not just barbers, lifestyle consultants. Media days is upon us. It is a media event like no other. I've tried to explain to my Big 12 peers what SEC media days is like, and they can't believe it. They're just like, oh, so like you're going to be there for a week, Mike? Like, what do you eat? And I'm like, well, they feed us all week. They're like, you guys get food? I'm like, yeah. Good old Uncle Greg takes care of us. We got a meal room. We've got every single amenity that you could want. And they make it easy for us to cover the coaches and players in the conference. We'll vote on preseason all SEC, obviously at media days. I'm going to be there with our good friend Zach Blackerby and a lot of other good Auburn folks that are making the trip down to Tampa. But the focus is going to be on Alex Golesh day 2. He is the first coach to the podium in day 2 on Tuesday. What do you want to hear from Alex Golesh that he hasn't said already? You know, he sent a lot of messages this offseason. He's tried to separate this version of Auburn from the Auburns of the past that have been losing. He's tried to honor the positive history, but to look at the negative history and say, look, man, don't put that juju on me. I haven't coached a game as Auburn's coach yet, so I don't care what they did versus Alabama the last couple of years. When I am the coach, we're going to do a better. What is that what you want to hear from Alex Golesh?
Yeah, I just want to hear continuity to the same mission, the same identity that he's had. I don't care if he wins it. Like, like saying like there's always somebody
win the
say
press
if someone
conference.
Wins the press conference. I don't care. I don't care about that. And I don't think he cares either. We saw him at the spring meetings where he was talking down in Destin, and he was very straightforward. He's like, I don't think you guys care about this opinion on me as a first-year head coach in this conference. I think we'll get a little bit more of that. I'd like to just see his authentic self when it comes to Alex Golesh. When we get to him at media days, I don't expect for him to do anything to where it's breaking the bank or where it's going to go viral or trendy. Like, it'll be enough that he's the Auburn head coach. We'll be talking about it. There's no doubt about that. But I don't expect it to be anything out of this world. And I'm kind of okay with that. I want him to just be gritty, to kind of just continue on to say. We have, if someone asks him about how he feels about, the past history against Georgia or something like that, same feelings. Well, this team's never played Georgia. Well, this team's never played Alabama. So I can't speak on that. That's what I want to hear. I just want that to continue.
Yeah. Auburn is taking, obviously, Byrum Brown. Champ Anthony is making the trip, but somewhat controversially, they're taking kicker Alex McPherson. Now, I've seen a mix of reactions to this on social media and on message boards from fans about taking a kicker to SEC media days. The more and more I thought about it, the more I like this pick. Number one, outside of Byrum Brown, he took guys that were here, that understand what it is to be an Auburn Tiger. That's not to say that Byrum Brown is not an Auburn Tiger. I'm saying that he's just getting ingrained in this culture. Alex McPherson and Champ, that they've been living it, man. They've been living it. And Alex has overcome one of life's greatest hurdles to be even standing on a podium talking about playing football in 2026. I love that they're sending him. Being the best player doesn't always mean being the best spokesperson for your team. And I think that that's part of what being a player representative at media days is about. It's about being a spokesperson for your team, for the fan base, and for the culture.
No, I agree. I definitely, at first, when I saw the report come out, the release, I was a little surprised. I'm not going to lie. I thought that we'd see Xavier Atkins on there. I thought maybe we'd see Cole Bess, Jeremiah Cobb, like the normal players that you would expect.
No Cobb was surprising. No Cobb was surprising.
Yeah, a little bit. But like based on how you've seen him in pressers as well, is it that surprising? I don't know. It is. Like, yeah, he's your starting running back, but based on who we saw in the spring and some of the pressers we saw in the spring, I thought Cole Bess was a shoo-in, just the way he spoke about surfing. He seemed like he was like a mini Golesh, right? He was like a mini Golesh. The more I look at it, the more I look back at it, I like it. I really do. You can't bring all South Florida guys with you because that'd be the narrative. There would be no other narrative other than, well, this is just the South Florida Tigers. So I'm glad that it wasn't 2 out of 3 being South Florida transfers. I'm glad that happened. You had to bring Byrum Brown because we're seeing 7 teams in the SEC not bring their quarterback, and that's all people can talk about. Sam Levitt's not going for LSU. That's all we can talk about. Is his leg good? Is his foot okay? Is he a bum? Is he a bum? That's what we want to know. People are asking, a lot of questions happening around there. I think Alex McPherson and Champ Anthony are 2 really cool players to be able to represent Auburn. You get the Byrum Brown, you get the new wave, the identity, the how he fits with Golesh, how Golesh will be that player standpoint. And then you get Champ Anthony and Alex McPherson, be able to share their stories, how they can share how they overcame things. Obviously, McPherson with his illness, and Champ Anthony's been injured for 2 straight seasons and still sticking around, still being leaders on this squad. Alex Golesh has talked about multiple times how he believes there are many different forms of leadership. And I think this is just one other way that he gets to show that and see that the identity of Auburn is that they're ready to overcome what has already been in the past for this program, and they're ready for it. So I think there's a message, a deep message for why he selected these players. And I'm really excited to see the national media see this. And if you don't know the Alex McPherson story, maybe some people in the SEC don't know about it. They didn't play Auburn last year. They won't know. And I hardly will think anybody knows who Champ Anthony is. And that'll change in Tampa next week.
We talked about it on our midweek report, but as somebody personally who deals with chronic illness, I can tell you that it is a mini miracle that this kid is able to stand up and talk about being able to play football in 2026. It takes an incredible amount of grit and determination and willpower to overcome what he's overcome to this point. And I pray that God gives him the strength to continue to overcome in his life, both on and off the football field. And for the love of God, I hope the media members that are there have the good sense to not ask Alex Golesh about golf or Byrum Brown's throwing motion. I don't hear about those 2 things in media day.
The throwing motion's going to happen. The golf, we'll see. You can put that on a bingo card. I don't think you put that center spot, but the throwing motion will definitely happen.
Oh, my goodness. And we're going to get out of here, guys. But before we do, YouTube's got a feature we want to tell you all about. YouTube now has a hype button just for the content you love the most. The War Rapport is delivering the coverage you count on daily, so smash that hype button to help the channel reach more college sports fans. It's a great way to support our work. Smash that hype button. Smash that hype button. Also, smash the comment section after the video. Let us know what you think about Auburn's player representatives at SEC Media Days. Do you like Byrum Brown, Champ Anthony, and Alex McPherson, or would you have rather seen others? Also, let us know what you think about that Ole Miss game, the DJ Durkin, Trinidad Chambliss, the business. We want to hear from you while you're in the comment section. Also, do us a favor, smash that super thanks button. Your financial support helps keep the work that we're doing here going. Please hit like and subscribe. We are the War Rapport on every social media platform. TW Rapport on TikTok. We're signing off, and as always,